water's fine, it's a celebration. No, we ain't stressing cause we on vacation. Not a care in the world today, baby. The sun's shining.
What is up, everybody?
Hope you're having a great day today. My name is Bobby AGT, your co-host of the Most Important Things podcast. I'm here with my co-host, the one and only Kevin Barbers. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
You had mentioned off camera that you had something you wanted to share with me and the podcast, and I'd love for you to do that.
No doubt. Well, before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Most Important Things podcast, Smith Anchor Apparel. For all your customized shirts, personalized shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, hoodies, anything you want personalized or customized, hit up Smith Anchor Apparel. They are the best at what they do, in my opinion, and they're very hard workers. Robert Smith and his wife Stephanie. Please, if you have any needs of customized apparel, please give them a shout out. Smith Anchor Apparel. Reach out to them on Facebook. So, what I wanted to share with the viewers. I've had a lot of mental lows lately, Bobby. These last couple podcasts have been, I don't want to say hard to come to because, I do really enjoy doing these. The first two went great. The third episode went great as well when I finally made it here. And here we are on the fourth episode of the Most Important Things podcast. And I've just been feeling really down lately, with 2 mil 60 days failing and just kind of life not being where I feel like I should be in life. And, it kind of drains on me mentally. So, and I want to do all the right steps that I have to take to, not go through as many highs and lows mentally as I do. So I made a call this morning to my local mental health center, and I made an appointment with them to talk to a professional October 6th. It's still 3 weeks away, so I'm going to have to hang in there for the next 3 weeks.
Easy. You got this.
And really, channel my inner strength, to everybody and to myself, because, this podcast is about, we've centered it around positivity and mental health, and and we want to help people. We want to connect with people that go through maybe possibly the same things that we go through in life. You touched on last week what you do to combat the anxiety you deal with, maybe the depression or the mental highs and lows you go through. Mm-hmm. I still have trouble combating that. Yeah. So I think talking to a professional and letting him know or her know what is exactly on my mind, what I go through and what I can do, for them to help me, to tell me what I can do to really, find some balance in my life. And in that, I hope that it can then help our viewers that are maybe possibly dealing with those same issues, and really maybe them look at me and be like, if Kevin Barbers can go and get help, then I think I should and can get help too. Because, you know what, Bobby, I've came across a lot of people in this last year, you included. And, I remember you saying, keep up with the positivity. I remember you messaging me saying, man, I love your positivity. You're one of the most positive people I know. And it's like, that's what I put out there. But I want everybody to know that, I go through mental highs and lows a lot. Like a lot. And I never want to, put that false image out there that I'm always this Mr. Positive, because listen, I'm not. I mean, I try to be and I want to be for the sake of the world and the sake of myself. And I want to put out good energy to help others. But that being said, man, to help others, you have to help yourself first and foremost. Like the more I have to give for myself, the more that I can give to the world. So, I mean, first and foremost, I need to help myself. It was a big decision that I had made yesterday. I said, you know what? I'm going to call a mental health center tomorrow and talk to a professional about mental health. And I think having this podcast about mental health, I think people, our viewers that have gravitated towards us in this, whether this last year or whether it is the last 4 weeks, I feel like they've gravitated towards us because maybe they can relate to what we talk about and the things that they deal with in life as well. And I want people to feel comfortable with the fact that if they have to go get help, And if they can see someone like me, and the people that know me, they know that I go through highs and lows, and I've never talked to a professional about, mental health, because I've never wanted to prove right the people that told me, yo, you should go get mental help.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those people are people on the internet, a lot of people are those around me that also get that same help. And I've always wanted to rise above, getting help, and be like, I can do it myself, and I always have. I've always found ways to to rise above it and figure it out on my own and be like, I don't need help. But here I am. I'm turning 29 in November. I'm going to be 30 next year, man. And I don't want to be 30 years old and still live at my mom and dad's house. Like that's the basis of it. So I have a year, and, I just don't want to be a 30-year-old man living at my parents' house. And, I've had to move in this last year, and it's been very humbling, and I've had to, I've gone through a lot of ups and downs mentally this year, and I didn't think I'd still be here, almost a year and a half later, moving back in. But like I said, I want to take the right steps in, finding strength, finding balance in my mental health. And I hope that can then translate to having more balance in my life and not having as many lows on a day-to-day basis where I'm just unmotivated, where I don't want to do anything, because I want to wake up every day. I want to wake up every day happy. I want to wake up every day with peace, and I want to wake up every day with motivation to motivate the world, as well as just do something positive for the world. So that's my big news. I want to see a licensed professional on my mental health.
Super happy to hear it.
Thanks, bro.
We do talk about it all the time, all 4 episodes so far, the importance of mental health, how it just might be the most important thing. You got to keep your mind clear. And like you said, a lot of us feel as if we can try to fix it ourselves. Some people have the ability to, others don't. There's absolutely nothing wrong with seeing a professional. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear that you're doing that, and I look forward to seeing it make some changes.
Yeah.
And you already know anything you need from me. Don't even hesitate. I'm kind of like your podcast therapist.
Yes, Bobby AGT, a.k.a. Bobby Therapy.
Sounds good. But yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Super happy for you.
Thanks for the support, man. And anybody out there that is also thinking that they should get, see a licensed professional on your mental health to educate yourself a little more. There's nothing wrong with it. We're gonna have an interview later on with a UFC Bantamweight, as I mentioned, Ewell, and he's gone through, things in his life as well. Like we all go through things in life, that maybe we need a little help. There's no schematic.
No.
There's no, manual how to live this life.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? There's people that go to school to learn a little bit more about mental health. And I'm going to go see that. I'm going to go see a licensed professional to maybe learn more about what I can do to help myself, and learn a little bit more about, the value I can bring on this podcast. Seeing the most important things, is, we base it a lot on mental health. Well, one thing I haven't done in a while is stomp out that evil.
You haven't. We're going to have to maybe set this camera up, get a full scale.
Yeah.
Of the studio and have you stomp that shit.
Yeah, that would be great. Do we have any flowers from outside? Maybe we can bring it in and just stomp it out. Maybe we'll cue it in right now. Psht.
Evil, you know what they do with the evil, right? What do you think?
Hey, look, I made it.
I'll take my old videos.
Yeah. Did you see my video I had made?
Did,
I chopped it all up. I was bored. I'm just wanted to make that. But yeah, man, because at one time in my life, well, it was only last year, but within the last year, I went to 20 open mics, and I was saying the same spiel. And I look back on it now, and I'm just like, man, to even have the power to do that in front of all those people.
It takes a lot. I perform for a living.
Yeah.
And it's scary shit. And seeing what you were doing, I'm like, I got a lot of respect for this guy, because that takes balls just to get up in front of people in general.
Yeah.
And
yeah, well, I think the difference between what I did and what you do is you do something that's actually pretty damn good. You sing some good music.
Thanks,
and
man.
Me, and I was making, who knows, maybe I was making a fool of myself.
I loved it.
Did you?
I loved every minute of it. Fuck yeah, I'm serious.
No doubt. We'll have to.
No, we take it day by day, man. I see big things for the podcast. I see big things for the future. So
yeah,
let's do it.
And we're all growing together. You know what I'm saying?
Well, with that being said, I suppose we shouldn't really harp on the subject too much today.
Yeah.
We do it enough. So let's talk MMA, because we do have a very important guest coming on.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to hear his insight, especially regarding mental health.
Yeah.
Because like you said, our buddy Andre has gone through highs and lows and lots of adversity, and he's here. He's doing his thing. So love to hear his take on it. Before we do that, let's talk about the fights themselves. We just had the big show on Saturday.
Yeah.
Woodley versus Covington.
Man, Covington did his thing. You know what I'm saying? And Woodley, at one time, Woodley was the man. He's still the man, but I mean, in the game, the fight game, it's a young man's game. And, his right hand seems to just not have that punch that he used to have. His speed is not as fast as he was. And he's still dangerous to everyday people like us. He's still dangerous to maybe people outside of the top 5 or top 10 or 20. But, I mean, I don't know. The fight game's a crazy thing.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't necessarily about the fights themselves, but just the breaking news we had last week about Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler coming to the UFC.
How do you feel about that?
I love it. I mean, Michael Chandler's a beast, And
how do you feel about him being the backup for Khabib?
I like it. I mean, it's not Ferguson or Poirier, but something's happened with them and their contracts, and they're trying to work everything out. But it is what it is. Mike Chandler. I hope Gaethje or Khabib doesn't get hurt. Because I definitely want to see that fight.
Right. That'd be a great fight.
Make it a triple threat match.
Yeah. One day Dana will start doing crazy shit like that, maybe.
Hey, shout out to Dana White.
Hey.
Always shout out to Dana White, bringing us the best fights in the world in a time where things aren't happening.
Very true. How do you feel about the co-main event? Cowboy versus Nico Price. It was a draw.
Oh, last week.
On Saturday.
Oh, yeah, man. That was a great fight. I mean, Cowboy, he came on strong in the end. But Nico, he came on very strong in the first 2 rounds, and he had that eye poke, which made it a draw. But I mean,
which brings us back to episode 1's topic and the eye pokes and how, because there was a lot of eye pokes on Saturday.
Yeah, there was
a lot of eye
pokes for sure.
Just makes me think
they got to change the glove thing. But I think I did see a link that Dana White is working on. Something. So
there you go. Maybe he heard our spiel earlier, and he's like, I got to listen to these 2 guys because they obviously know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I'd like to think that. But Dana White, I had met him. Dana White, president of the UFC, I had met him last year, and I got a crazy little video with him. And I honestly look back now, and I should have asked him for a job. And I feel like if I did, maybe I would be working for the UFC right now. And people are probably going to listen to this and be like, yeah, all right, dude, no, you're not going to work for the UFC.
If you worked for Dana, then we couldn't do this podcast.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? We would have never crossed paths, bro. Is what it is.
Like everything happens for a reason, though. That was what I was going to get to.
Definitely.
Everything happens for a reason, and life's funny, man. Like one door closes, one door opens. And let's just keep traveling through the doors. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I want to touch on one more fight before we touch on getting our first guest on the show.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kamzat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Chimaev.
Yeah.
Well, what did he throw? One punch. He threw one kick that landed to the gut, and then one punch and knocked him out. That was very impressive. That was very impressive.
It was tough to see.
He said he wants to take out Izzy and Usman.
Yeah, I did.
That's a tall order.
Imagine
if he did it in one night. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I smashed everybody, bro. Give me 1 hour. I'll be right back.
God. We have to put that video in here.
I did a little impression of him when I had my beard. If you hadn't noticed, I shaved it off.
Yeah. But this guy Chimaev, he's a UFC fighter. He's coming up, and he's really a beast. And he kind of looks like Bobby. And Bobby did this impression of him, and it was really funny. Maybe you should put that right in the video.
I smash all these guys. I tell you, you give me 1 hour, I go rest, I come back, I smash everybody, man. I tell you, I smash everybody.
We got to start sharing more of our UFC talk to them. We got to start, sharing our mental health talk to everyone that can maybe benefit from that. And, yeah, man, try to, like you said in the first episode, we ain't going to stop till everyone knows our name. And this, like I said before, this podcast will never be a failure. You'll never be a failure in life until you give up. It might not make the progress that you want it to make at that moment, but I mean, it's only a failure if you give up. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone asks you a question, how is this doing? You can answer it in 2 ways. You can say, I gave up on it and it's all done. Or you can be in the midst of it and be like, it's going all right. You know, I'm still chugging towards it. And
Right.
with that answer, everything's always open.
Yeah.
You know, until
100%.
you get to there, you know, and what it is. And people always say it's about the journey.
Yeah, true that. Day by day, man. We're doing it. I mean, here we are, episode 4, having
Episode
a blast.
4. Yeah.
And with that being said, we got our first guest.
First guest.
How do you feel about it?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. We're working on getting them on right now, working out the kinks. You know, everything takes preparation, kinks to work on. I think our buddy Travis right now is working on it right now. Yeah, man, I can't thank Andre Ewell, UFC Bantamweight, enough for being our first guest. So I hope it's a great chat.
Yeah, sounds good. And actually, yeah, Travis is giving me the thumbs up.
Give me
now.
a thumbs up.
I think we're good.
All right, no doubt. So without further ado, we have a very special guest, our first guest on podcast episode number 4 of The Most Important Things. UFC Bantamweight coming off a huge win this past weekend at UFC in Vegas at the Apex. Very impressive performance. UFC Bantamweight, Andre, Mr. Highlight, Ewell. How's it going, my man?
I'm doing well, man. One, thank you for having me and allowing me to be the first. You feel me? You know, the touch ground, it's like me over here grabbing myself. Or in other words, it's bring sand to the beach. And I feel like I just brought all that sand to the beach. You feel me? Yeah.
Well, life is a beach, you know, as Lil Wayne says, life is a beach. We're just playing in the sand. So first off, we want to thank you, man. We want to thank you for our time. Bobby, I'm sure wants to thank you as well.
Yeah, of course.
And let's get right into it, man. Very impressive performance. I had actually sent you a message the other day saying, actually, I started off messaging you a few days ago. I had said, "Are you gonna try some new techniques on this guy?" And damn, were you throwing those techniques out, my man? You were going with Muay Thai knees. You were going with flying knees. You were going with teep kicks to the body. You were going with body shots. You were going with straight lefts. Your jab was working. I want to ask you, my man, how do you assess that performance? Your performance, your overall performance. How did you assess that? Because I thought it was great.
One, I appreciate that, and like 2, I gave myself a C+, like, you know, and the only why I'm like 100% like hard on myself, just the fact is in my team around me already like were giving me like, or my brother and my cousin gave me a little lower on the class, and then they saw like how much basically efficiency and the stamina of how much like punches I was throwing in the round and everything, that my grade kind of raised up with their mind and their eye set. But the whole overall just factors in, like, one, I do recall the dang message, you know, the message, because it made me laugh a little bit. I was like, yeah, I got a surprise for you, because I was about to end up doing a sweet chin music to him, you know? If anybody knows about that, that was like the whole plan and everything. But it didn't end up setting out that way, because, you know, it was just the way that I am and the style that I am and what I bring to the table. Everything kind of like floats in the direction was what is presented at the table. Trying to force things, like it was like a split second I actually tried to force something and it didn't look right and it got awkward, and then you just see me kind of like back off, breathe, kind of like even like probably like even rolled my eyes a few times, you know, in the middle of it. But the whole things of this whole setups and everything I ended up doing it, I ended up love what I ended up doing, you know. And the C+ is me. I should have finished it in the first round, and granted I tried, you know. But dude had heart, and what I ended up stating from the beginning, he's a Mexican warrior, and that's something that you know that they honestly have, and that's what he ended up bringing to into the cage. So nothing but respect to Erwin, you know, and I feel like he has a bright future in the UFC.
Oh, 100%, man. And, you know, you said you were trying to finish him in the first round. Man, from my view, it looked like you were trying to finish him with every punch, and every punch was landed that I was seeing. I mean, every punch, every kick, every knee. You know, it's like, I don't know what exactly the striking accuracy that you landed, but I'm sure it was very high. And with every strike, I mean, that guy was just tough, man. Was he one of the toughest guys you've ever fought? And you've fought a lot of tough guys in your career. Was he one of the toughest guys you've ever fought?
For chin-wise, and I'm gonna go ahead and say because everybody else I know, like, don't get me wrong, like I end up cracking like majority of everybody that I fought in the UFC with my left hand, you know. And this was one that actually just took the onslaught, and because you gotta remember, this is like a 2.0 me version, you know, where I'm able to sprawl, able to actually use my legs and, you know, kick and Muay Thai and all this other stuff, you know, even with my elbows. And I feel like anybody else that would have ended up getting that 2.0, like the last fight that I had, with Martinez, that should have been a finished fight, but broke my forearm type thing, you know.
Right.
But everybody else, they didn't get the full 100% me, or damn near close to 100%, or whatever the case might be, you know. But Rivera did, and he got that 2.0 of me, where when, you know, oh, your last resort is to let me shoot. What'd I do? You know, yanked them, pushed them off of me, and continued to throw some things. And on top of that, it was like a whole stamina thing. Like everybody's like, oh, Dre likes to fade. No, I don't like to fade. I come out hot. Because I always tell people, I come out hot. That's just my style. I come out hot, like, you know, because I want to finish the fight in the first round.
Right.
You know, it doesn't happen. The second round is me assessing what's going on, you know. And as me looking and viewing, still throwing heaters through the whole situation, because I threw 300 significant strikes, meaning those 300 KO, trying to knock you out, all power, you know, I'm trying to kill you. And I landed 124 of them, you know. So 124 is what he took, and 124 is what he walked through, you know.
Right.
And that was me trying to kill him, like, or me trying to basically kill him or take him out, like, you know, finish the first round, second round, how you end up looking at it.
Yeah.
But every round that ended up passing up, my punch rate ended up increasing. Like, you know, so stamina, no question. I'm 100% fit and 100% ready to honestly keep pushing, stuff like that, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, if there were people there, then that place would have been on their feet. So that leads to Bobby's next question.
I want to ask about the energy in the room and how different it is, like with no crowd, no smaller octagon, all that stuff. What's that like? Is that like a crazy differentiator? Or?
I guess you could say that. But granted, like, I end up tuning everybody out anyways. Only time that I end up like really listening to the crowd is if my opponent hits me with something pretty nice, or he doesn't hit me at all. And then it's kind of like you hear them screaming at it, like, ah, and it's my mind is like, but he didn't touch me, you know. Like, that's what I'm mentally thinking, like, no, he didn't end up touching me. But with the no crowd thing, I don't want to say it ended up changing anything on my mindset. Like I stated, I just knew that everybody was watching, including my mama. And, you know, my mama was always going to end up basically judging in her own mindset. Like, hey, you should have finished it, or hey, you had me nervous. So it's one of those. My mom was watching, so I got to give him everything I got. Right. You know?
No doubt.
Well, listen, you said your mama judging. Let's talk about that judging real fast. Because, listen, you won that fight in everybody's eyes. 99.9% of the MMA community's eyes. 30-26 even. I mean, the first round could have been a 10-8. And the rounds 2 and 3 were clearly 10-9 rounds. 10-8, 10-9, 10-9. And like you said, maybe you faded a little bit. What, at the end of the rounds for what? Maybe 20 seconds, where in the second round he flipped you, where you were already on top, on his back, digging for a choke, digging for some ground and pound. Man, what was your reaction when you heard split decision?
Well, you know, same thing I ended up saying with everybody else. It's don't leave it to the judges. And my mindset is always going to end up staying that way. Like, granted, like, I could end up feeling, because, you know, I got robbed on a lot of few fights, you know, and then the last one they feel like, oh boy, got robbed. But at the same time, a lot of people said that I definitely won. Like, when I rewatched the fight, I won.
100%.
Like, you know, but at the end of the day, it's opinions when it comes to the scorecards, when it comes to judging, you know. And the only 3 opinions that matter is the 3 judges, you know. So granted, like, to everybody in the world, that I ended up killing Irwin in all 3 rounds, you know, just like you said, the 10-8 first round, which I honestly agree. Granted, he kind of, you know, he started coming back, but it was a 10-8 round type thing. But that one judge might have just only seen that one half, like, you know, or that last 30 seconds, or he might judge it off that mentality of, well, he's trying to shoot for the finish of the last second. Like, all right, we're going to give it to him type of thing. You know, like, you end up having different judges, different mindset for a lot of things. Like, you know, like, just hearing from my last fight, like how Joe is. Joe's mindset was, or Joe Rogan's mindset was, that the rounds that really matter is the championship rounds. We don't care about the first 3 rounds. So if that's the mindset, like, that's, you know, and that's just that's a normal human being that's a commentator on the side, you know? Right. So now what if the same thing is one of the judges have that same mindset? Hey, first 3 don't count, no matter, it's the last 2 rounds. Like, you know, if you end up having that mindset, like, that's the judge. People see things differently and automatically basically flow in a different direction. Like me, I say, hey, I'm viewing the whole fight. I end up giving the first round just like the last round. Reason being, when I fight, I always fight the first round coming out hot. And then I try to treat the last round coming out hot. Whatever ends up coming out, I treat every round like it's the first round. And as long as you guys keep it that way, you know, if it comes down to the judges, the only thing their mindset is, hey, he was trying. Like, you know, he was trying to really fucking finish you. There you go.
Right.
You know, excuse for cussing. I don't know if I'm
No, you can cuss,
Okay,
man.
man.
He's got a
Okay.
thing right behind him. What's it say, Bobby?
Maybe swearing will help.
All right. Yeah, dang, bang, boogity bang.
Hey. I like it.
Listen, I think the only way that other judge saw him winning was if he was judging by the amount of punches the other guy landed on your fists with his face. You know, like that's the only way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally the only way I see him thinking that he won that fight, because I mean you dominated in every aspect of the fight. You had his back. You had the ring control. You had the power punches. You had the jabs. You controlled every aspect of the fight. So when I see judging, when I even see split decision, when I even see 29-28, it makes me wonder, like, what are these guys watching? Like, they have a screen in front of them, the fight is in front of them, and it's like you can really, you know, mess with these guys' careers by just judging a fight wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that. Like, it could end up changing or taking somebody, but again, that's why I always say don't leave it to the judges, because, you know, and like, granted, like I had like bad history with judges anyway, so and I'm talking about like personal lives type thing. So my mindset is never bring it to somebody on the outside. Make sure you do everything you can to make everything go in your direction.
Definitely.
And if it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be. And, you know, and that's how I kind of like live life and how I move around life.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's like, you know, all the adversity that you've overcame in these last 7-8 months. I want to congratulate you on your birth of your daughter.
Definitely, yeah.
Boy, it's a boy.
Oh, was
like,
it your boy?
Everybody, yeah. No, don't, because I ended up realizing, like, you know, when I ended up saying, oh, my child, June, I didn't give no gender. So, you know, they already expected. So since it's June, it's a woman. It's like, or, you know, it's a little girl. But nah, it's a boy, baby. June, I date Ewell. You know, he's a boy, little impression, loves when I end up shadow boxing, ends up smiling.
That's awesome.
And I feel like he's going to be the next fighter out of the family.
Oh, man, I sincerely apologize for that, Andre.
Oh, no, it's gravy. It's gravy.
But that being said, I mean, I want you to get a little into, you know, all this adversity that you had to face in this last 7 months, starting with, you know, what came out of your last fight and also what happened to you about a month and a half ago. I'd love for you to get into a little bit of that.
Well, you already know, first it started with the whole broken forearm or owner bone. Had to end up doing surgery in February. My Valentine's was in the surgery room. You know, that ended up diverting into my 2 knee surgeries, but at the same time, before all of that, or before my 3rd surgery, my son was born in April. So you already know, blessing right there. He is my that boy is my faith right there. You know, definitely call him Hope. You know, if anything.
Yeah.
So him ended up bringing like nothing but a smile, just like me obviously trying to still working, get into my first son's life and everything, you know. That ended up diverting into a little awkward, awkward type of relationships, trying to fix it, and, you know, problems of building up, but it ended up coming out where love conquers all, you know. And that's all that ends up mattering on the situation. And last about a month and a half ago, or basically I want to say it was a month and going on to 4 weeks. So basically we could say almost 2 months.
Okay.
I was in like one of those like badass accidents and shit, you know, and it was like bad total type car where your boy thought he almost lost his life because I was drinking cranberry juice, right?
Wow.
And the cranberry juice exploded.
Oh my Lord.
In the car, so I'm thinking it's blood and everything. So, you know, it was like it got like mad awkward in the car for me. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Like I'm over here, no, you know.
Yeah.
But that was like one of those like life situations. Like, you know, I was good. The person that was in an accident with, the one that hit me and everything, he was okay. So
good.
we're both like alive. Like, you know, granted we had a little small tune-ups and aches and bruises and whatnot, seeing doctors for it and whatnot. But life, you know, that experience alone, your life flashes by. Like, you know, it's one of the situation. And for me, it was literally the fact is, what am I leaving my kids? Like, you know, it's like, dang, I don't want to get taken away from my newborn when I'm actually able to be in his life. Like I got taken away from my firstborn, you know, when I'm trying to be in his life. And then I get taken away from all of it. What do I end up leaving him? You know, just, oh yeah, your dad was a fighter and he could have been one of the greatest. Like, you know, and I think he loved you. Like, I don't want none of that. I want them to know, hey, my dad loves me. Hey, he ended up leaving something for him or for, for me and all that other stuff. So anything and everything I end up doing, I always give them a shout out. I always end up telling them how much I do love them before I leave, before I go to sleep, the whole nine. Yeah. So I kind of keep it push in that direction. And then the awkward moment, it's literally Wednesday is going to be the random anniversary of the last time I ended up seeing my first son. Oh, wow, so like this month is like awkward, but at the same time refreshing. Like, you know, very sad for me, but it turns around by giving me like smiles because a lot of positive things are happening. Right. And it's like, I'm like trying to push it into the future where it's only going to be progress and only going to be like fortune for, the family and where I'm at and everything, where anybody that's Team Ewell can end up joining that and honestly build off that same positive energy, Absolutely. Because like when I tell people, when I say like my whole life changed in so many different directions off of the whole getting kicked out of my son's life, like people got to end up understanding that. Like literally September 23rd, 2013 was the last time I held my son. Oh. That is in the next 2 days. I am going to be on a mad roller coaster and I'm going to end up posting it. And, and it's going to be one of those moments it's going to hit me hard. But I know that in the future, and if it didn't happen today, it might end up happening in the next fight, the next year or whatever follows the case, that my boy's going to see me on the camera and is going to be like, hey mom, I want to ask you a question. Is that my daddy? And it's going to end up where she's going to have to say, yeah. My son's mother's going to have to say yeah to it. And granted, me and her don't see eye to eye. She don't love me. We don't click. She basically ends up hating me for, I don't know no reason why, because I am a loving fucking person, period. Yeah. But when it comes down to when people get selfish, people become selfish and they want what they want. And in this situation, it was control. She wanted control. And I'm not the type of person that ends up kind of like rolling with people that just have to have control. I'm not good with that. Like, I'm be free. I'm like a freaking bird. I am a hummingbird, my favorite bird, because that bad boy fly backwards like a bitch. That's me.
Well, we've noticed that you are, you're a very positive person on your Instagram and all the energy that you do put out. And I mean, you're a man on a mission as well. So you mentioned control. It's like, how can someone control you when, you have a dream, you have a mission, and I think you're doing pretty damn, you're making a lot of progress in that. So it's like you said, how can someone kind of control you when you're on this pace of doing great things, and that could possibly hold you back, no?
Oh, no, 100% agree. Yeah. Because like I am somebody that honestly, truly like believes that you're like placed on this earth to do something or do what you love. And I know like there's a lot of circumstances that you can't do it, and it's always that situation like, hey, we need money, or hey, we need this, or hey, we need that, And I was one of those guys that needed money, but what if I end up telling you doing what you love actually can bring you all the money? Like, I knew I was able to fight. I knew I can fight. I knew growing up I was a fighter. I was placed in fucking awkward positions where it was survival mode, and that's me fighting, like, and we wasn't born with all, with money like that. Like, it was hustle. My mom, grandma, auntie, pops, everybody that I was around and raised was all about hustling, Yeah. And my message for the people upgrowing, or, even to my, my two boys, it's one of those situations like, do what you love, like, and circle yourself around people that love what you do, or want to push you to where you want to get to, like, and it's like, because, you always have, and it's funny too, because all the positive energy of you honestly just having that mindset will push out the negative people. Yeah. It'll push out, like, I don't know if you noticed, like in high school, everybody had all the friends in the world, and then when you got out of high school, it started to dwindle down. Yeah. And then, getting shorter and shorter. And when I say like all the friends, I'm talking about all the friends that feel like they're your friends, or they'll pop up out of nowhere and say, hey, we used to be friends. Right. And it's like, I don't even remember your name type of thing, you know, or, hey, I do remember your name, but I know that we wasn't that cool, or, hey, it was a lunch table and you sat the far end and I was over here. But I do know you haven't met my mama yet. Like, you know,
Right.
it's like little situations where you can end up dwindling down as in are they your friends or not friends. Because when I look at it as a friend, it's a friend that turns into low-key a cousin / brother.
Right.
Like, you know, like that blood is thick, or you know how they say blood is thicker than water, but at the same time, sometimes you don't need blood to automatically sit there and say it's thick. You feel me? Or feel like you guys are a full family or whatnot. Because even blood can honestly, you know, stab you in the back, which it has happened, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in that situation, it's just always about being free and doing what you want. And what I look at it is I'm going to push that into my, you know, my kids' mind. I don't want them thinking like, oh, I have to have a 9-to-5 job to be happy. Like, you don't have to have a 9-to-5 job. You can literally work and do something that you love for 4 hours and get paid the same amount as someone that's working 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. Like, you know,
100%.
it just depends on how you end up funneling in the right people, you know, and whatnot. I didn't know the right people. I built up to having the right people because I draw them in of the fact is that I'm doing what I love. I drew people in.
Yeah.
Because I knew I started to know my value and honestly push my value. And granted, it took a judge to look down at me with no value, but the way I look at it is kind of like this. Hey, you're late to the party, right? But at least I'm coming. And that's just exactly how I look at it. I'm coming to the party.
There you go.
So, you know, be a hummingbird.
Yeah, there you go, man. That kind of ties into what I was going to ask next, talking about like haters specifically. I see you talking about the haters on Instagram, and we're 4 episodes deep, and we've already got those, you know, little haters, those little stragglers chiming in on the comments as if they know what's good, you know. But how do you combat that? How do you deal with the haters? How do you stay focused and positive and block out that negativity?
Just like that, just simply block it out, because you know, dingleberries, man. Those we call them those dingleberries. You get a nice like wipey, which I got my son's wipey right here. It's called Pure.
Hey.
You know, you just wipe it away. You feel me? But like I've been around it, and like I said, growing up, it's always been there. And granted, before the week of the fight, there's some cat, and I'm not going to even praise the name type thing, but he was in a situation that led into more situations that became more of a problem towards the gym. And the thing about it is he's trying to blame me because he was like, oh, how are we going to say that we're cool and close and you let this other dude do this? And it's like, one, I found out a day before you found out. So I got nothing to do with that. Like, you know, like I was literally the last person to know, which I should have been the first one. And if I would have been the first one, I could have ended up cutting and executing to make sure all the drama was out of place. But it just ended up going in that direction. So now it ends up building a hater or someone that doesn't like me or hate me off of basically a miscommunication on a situation that I had no control of.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to honestly try to fix it or plan it. Like, only thing is like, I gave you a chance to listen to me. And if you didn't want to listen to it, it is what it is. The way I look at it is it wasn't meant for you to hear it out. And when it comes out, my positive energy going forward is just basically deleting the negativity, which I ended up saying earlier. So negative people always end up finding their way out. And he wasn't really the nicest person, but me being around him could have been that positive that he needed to honestly change, but it didn't float that way.
Yeah.
But even off on that person that ended up like stabbing him in the back, me and him kind of didn't even like click like that, where it's like nothing but love, but the teaching that I'm trying to give you is not sitting, because I'm a coach. Majority of them end up look at me as a sensei or older brother or like a big basically like a father figure or whatever you want to call the kids. People come to me for advice or talk to the whole situations. So it's like, because I went through so much that I can honestly feed out that information and give it to them and direct them in the right direction. But my thing is when you're around me, I'm giving you positive stuff so you can be a better person. And if you take my lessons or my knowledge and you're not making progress, I'm not doing my job. So in other words, it's just what I look at it is I'm not meant to be in your life or be that person to honestly help you. So you got to end up going in a different direction and figuring that out. So everybody has their own roads, and if your road's not matched with mine, then that's what it, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But if eventually dwindles and brings us back, then I'm always open up with open arms, because it's namaste where I'm from, and that's how it is. Like nothing but positive energy, and I'm always gonna push that.
Hell yeah. I think that's why we were drawn to you as a fighter, and I started following you pretty recently, and I'm like, this guy just spews nothing but positive energy, which I fucking love. So yeah.
Appreciate that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. It's very important in life. We have our podcast. The name is The Most Important Things, because, we try to focus on positivity, mental health, with which we actually were discussing, off camera. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast episode, I'm going to be, going to see someone to talk about my mental health. So if you could touch on a little bit about mental health, Andre, because, being a fighter, like you said earlier, there's a lot of obstacles that you've overcome in life to get you where you are today. If there's anything that you can share right now, to bring any kind of support or encouragement to all of our viewers out there regarding mental health, I give you the floor, my friend.
All right. Definitely for me, I am one of those people that went through the mental health and still is going through it. Like, there's one of those situations where once you end up having it, or you end up going through it, and it happened to you, it's no way of covering it up. Like, like, don't get me wrong, you can put a Band-Aid over it, but the situation is always going to be there, Right. Like me, I went through the whole situation, get my son taken away. Like, right. It was downful, hurtful, mindset wasn't there. It was a heartbreaking moment. That, because I was fighting before. I gave everything up just to be in my, my child's life and everything, and I was doing the 9 to 5 because that 9 to 5 was paying for all the courts for me to be there, or me to fix a car to get there to court. It's like situations where you end up building up your hope that you're going to end up getting the right call and be in your child's life, and it ends up getting taken away. And then, and it's not only my son, the situation that I went through, because that was so dark and deep for me that suicide was an option. Wow. It was actually not only an option, that it was an attempt. I just sucked at it. You feel me? But it's one of those situations that ended up happening. And I'm like open to honestly sit there and speak on it, because where I'm at right now, it was because of my past. Right. It was because that happened of my, my child getting taken. It was the fact is in not having the best life of growing up. Like, like in where majority of like certain spots where we're from, where I lived was called the poor side. Like, and this is like a thing that they honestly push. This is like a thing that they honestly like fed into, us kids, or us mixed kids, whatever you want to end up calling the situations of, you guys are not the richest, you guys are poor, like, but not knowing, we're rich automatically here. Like, don't know how strong your mind is. Like, like every day that you end up waking could be a bad situation, or, like the way I look at it is like, I can't even trust myself, because, the fact is I wake up every morning not knowing if I'm going to be in a good mood, bad mood, sad mood. You can't, you don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, your body kind of just flows that direction. And whenever it does, it's up to you to honestly fix it. Yeah. Like, or you try to bring a smile, for you to bring, make yourself some cereal, or make you walk up, or honestly go to work and whatnot. But those dark times will always end up creeping back up. Now it's just how positive or the factors and how strong you end up growing. This is one thing I always say, that humans are like so strong, because we go through so much shit that it's unbelievable that you could sit there and say, I don't know if I can walk, I don't know if I can move, I don't know if I can do anything. And then next you know it, you find yourself about a month later talking about, dang, I remember last month I told myself, I don't know if I can do this, I can do that. Yeah. Like, it's like a heartbreak. You end up dating someone that you end up loving, and they end up doing something that ends up stabbing you in the back, and you feel like, oh, I don't want to ever love again. And then like a year later, you're in a whole nother relationship, or you might be back with the same person. You never know, but things end up floating in that direction. So what I look at it is, take it day by day. Yeah. And I always end up telling them that, because, I was talking to somebody, and that person could have been like the, like the whole love of the life situation, but didn't work that way because, some time ago. But it's like, they had their mindset that didn't match with mine, you know, and that ended up leading into me being with my son's mother. You know, it's like, and stuff like that ends up dwindling up into the moment of you just got to take it day by day, because you never know how people are or what their minds might be tomorrow. You can be like, oh, I love you today, but tomorrow you might hate me, like, you know, and you might say you might not hate me, but anything can switch up. Anything can happen. It's literally 24 hours in a day that anything can happen. Just like how it was an accident about a month ago or 2 months ago. Yeah. Like, I'm driving, singing a song, like, you know, and thinking I'm about, you know, I'm on the
dancing,
way to
right?
a couple of my clients. You know what I mean? Like, I'm jamming, and next you know it, I get hit.
Jeez.
That could have been the end of it. Like, you know, and I promise you, if I wasn't working out, I think I would, or, you know, training and whatnot, I would have been in a different condition right now. I wouldn't fought, you know, a couple days or a couple nights ago type thing. Right. But it led into the moment I was able to fight, because certain situations, like I always end up stating, every day could end up changing, you know, or every minute or second. So today, yeah, you love me, so let's ride off in the sunset today. But tomorrow it might be different, right? You know, and just know that today I'm preparing myself for tomorrow, and just like tomorrow I'll be preparing myself for the following day. Just take it day by day.
Man, that's some real stuff, and you know, really appreciate you sharing all that stuff, man. Because I feel like, you know, hearing that from you, it's huge, because where you are right now, being a UFC fighter, and knowing that you've overcome obstacles to get where you are, and the thoughts that did come across your mind, and man, it shows true strength of what can come out of those weak moments. You know, it's like, because we all have those weak moments in life sometimes, but it's like, I feel like our lowest lows builds our greatest strengths. No,
I 100% agree with you on that. And the reason I always tell people when they be like, "Oh, I look up to you, I want to be just like you," and I'm like, "Nah, aim to be better." Like, this is one of those situations, like, by you doing that, it's always gonna make me feel like I need to work on myself. So I'm going to be trying to be better the following day. So now whoever you're like circling around, it's doing this. Yeah. Like, you know, or whoever's looking up to you and you end up catching them, like, oh, they're doing something positive. What are you doing? Let me try to do something positive. So next you know it, we're automatically doing positive things in the world. Like, you know, and just like it's moves on to the other direction where I always stay, or I ended up stating, like, we got to aim to do be better. We had to aim to do better. Like, you know, like when I say, hey, for all lives matter, you got to have, you know, Black lives have to matter type thing. You know, for that to work, things will end up clicking. Like, you know, and it's not the opposite. Oh, all lives. Oh, yeah. But if you don't care about this one, does all actually matter? It's like, you know, it's little situations where you can end up like flipping back and forth, like, you know. But what I look at it is, I'm trying to, like, I want everybody to be able to come together and automatically basically move positive. Like I stated, I am a very Buddhist type of person that's been studying, which also saved my life of going back onto the subject, that I was in a dark time, and that enlightenment opened up my door. Like, you know, it actually brought me back. So it's just in those things like that. We just gotta smile and take it day by day.
100%,
no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
We started this podcast to try to bring exactly what you just said, you know, some positivity, some motivation, some awareness on mental health. And I feel like if we never started this podcast, you know, we wouldn't be here talking to you most likely. And I'm glad we are. And, you know, you can share your thoughts a little bit on that, Bobby.
I'd like to bring it back to the fights, if
you
could. I wanted to talk about so, I mean, you had mentioned how UFC isn't letting you fight immediately again, even though you feel like you're good to go. Who do you see yourself fighting next? Do you have anybody in mind?
Derek Lewis, I seen.
Oh, yeah. You're going to eat
man.
some cheeseburgers?
It's Derek Lewis. I'm trying to get, they say 100K followers, you know, so get my follower game up so I can fight Derek Lewis.
Hey.
Like, that would be something exciting, you know. Derek Lewis is a very cool cat, but, you know, it's one of those situations you still got to fight. Like, hey, like, let's make that happen.
He's got to meet you halfway, maybe lose a few pounds, meet in the middle somewhere.
You know, something. But, you know, but like I said, I don't mind eating, you know. But,
True.
Like, granted, like, I know I'm in, like, in one of the most competitive weight classes and bantamweight. Like, you know, and my mindset is cool. I can go ahead with the best in all of them, and every one of them is on my mind. Like, even though, like, Cheetah. Like, I saw Cheetah after I got done fighting, walking down to walking basically to go see the doc. Chito's over there at the announcing table, chopping it up. I believe he's doing the UFC Espanol.
UFC.
Commentary for them. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's commentating for them. So I know he was doing that. So me, I'm already calling him out. Like, you just hear me screaming before I get like walk down the cage. Chito, I want you. Like, like I want you, Chito.
Well, you look at his performance against Sean O'Malley, a highly touted prospect, and he finished him in the first round, and it took him. You gave him a fight. I mean, for all the praise that Sean O'Malley is, he's good, he's great. Look what Andre Ewell did with a top 10 guy, as in Chito Vera. So it's like that raises your stock. Everything about this whole Chito dominating Sean O'Malley. I think you were the biggest winner in that whole fiasco. Do you agree?
No, I definitely agree. Cause no shots out to to any of them, or actually 100% shots at Chito, because me and him we have a little situation where we have to settle it, and that's why it's gonna be one of those. Every time I see him, I'm going to be calling him out, or it's gonna come down to this moment. We're gonna always have to exchange words, because it's one of those things that has to happen.
Yeah,
but he ends up, as a fighter, he always gets respect from me. Yeah. He's literally the most dangerous black belt at our weight class. And for me to honestly give him that type of fight, and not only that, by him beating me is what ranked him. And period. So I'm already going to end up holding my head up high off of that, just that alone. Out of my 6 fights in the UFC, I basically fought tough opponents.
Oh yeah,
every one of them were all tough, all able to to honestly put work or end up going really far or the shit,
Yeah.
And I never backed down, because the added reason is, or added thing is, you don't know how many people backed away from Chito before I ended up taking the fight, or before they even got brought to my name. Like everybody in the audience, or just fans in general, are saying, "Oh, Chito deserves a ranked opponent," and all this other stuff and all that other shit, And then, but they're not knowing all those ranked people were denying Chito.
Yeah.
And then here I go, that I'm always down to fight anybody and everybody. It's just like that. Like I want to put on a show. I'm always going to be able to put on a show, and that's just something that I'm good at, and that's what the fans are drawn to me about, because I'm down to fight. Like that last night, or the couple nights fight, I could have probably took the fight without taking absolutely no damage. Like these cuts on my face, I could have done none of that. I could literally pick the person apart, played a painting picture where it could have been like Muhammad Ali or a Floyd Mayweather type thing. We'll go ahead and say Floyd or Roy Jones, where it's far away, I'll touch here and there. But, I keep it exciting. Like, it's like one of those, I want the people to know that I'm there to fight. I want the fans to know that I'm there to fight. I want them just to know that I'm here to freaking fight, and so it goes into that O'Malley, which I ended up rewatching the fight. Granted, I felt like Chito did ended up hitting him in the leg, and he ended up like numbing the shit out of O'Malley's leg. I ended up seeing that, so that ended up changing the game. But again, it's his style that how he ends up going in and out, that by being explosive and not being explosive, he ends up rolling his ankle, because me and O'Malley do have a very similar style. When I'm on my move and he's on his move, it's very similar, But on that situation, he kind of, he kind of like bit the bullet. Like, it was like one of those, I'm not going to continue fighting. I felt like the fight shouldn't ended that early, but it happened, and it went into that direction for Chito. So, my bad, you guys. Hold on. My bad.
All good.
All right. So my bad. Like, so on that one, it kind of like floats into that direction of what really happened or what could have happened. But Chito is the man. He's the man at the moment, and right now I'm going to be the man to beat. So, so every fight that goes by, Chito's going to end up calling my name out eventually, because I'll be either holding the belt before him. I know that.
Yeah. Besides those 2 fights that you want with O'Malley, besides the 2 fights you want with Chito and Big Beast, Black Beast, I think 2 fights that would be freaking super entertaining, super competitive, and I would love to see him is one against Sean O'Malley. I think you match up very good with Sean O'Malley, and go in there and take all that hype. And I hate to say hype, because Sean O'Malley is well deserved, well respected, highly skilled fighter. Him or former champion Dominic Cruz. What do you think about those two fights?
Oh,
That'd be a nice fight, huh?
'cause the funny thing is, I love, or I did love Dominic. Dominic is always, he's like super awesome. Like as a fighter, I am a big fan. Even though he kind of broke my heart when I fought Martinez. Joe Rogan kind of went very biased. I feel like he lost money in that fight. That Dominic kind of like started to angle with him. And it's like, dude, damn straight that I beat him, Martinez, and it's like a style that you kind of went off on, and my style went off with Dominic. But it is what it is. I am like I said, I am a fan of him, and it's somebody I do want to end up fighting. And I feel like that'll probably be the next name that I do call out, besides Derek Lewis. See if he wants to come back from like retirement, or not retirement, but his commentary seat, just to jump in the cage with me, one time, just to share it, because the fight of legend, him or Jose Aldo, that'll be like awesome. But it'll be Dominic Cruz out of the O'Malley and him. And be honest, like I definitely want to fight O'Malley, but out of this situation, it's going to be one of those. His mindset is on Cheeto. Cheeto, it's like ignoring him. And I already know if I go ahead and fight him and I beat him and whatnot, or when I beat him and whatnot, it's not going to be about me. It's going to be about O'Malley. And that's going to be the most talk about is O'Malley lost because of this or that. Yeah, Andre beat him, but O'Malley, da. And it's going to be one of those moments like, do I want to deal with that or not deal with that? And
Right.
Truth be told, granted, if the name pops up, I'm 100% going to freaking take it, because I feel like you said, that's a good matchup and that'd be a good fight. Miley's cool. The fans love him, and that's like 100% like off the chain. But somebody I do definitely would like to fight in the future would be Sung. That dude's pretty tight.
Yeah. Song Yudong.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be exciting. He's so damn explosive, and I'm explosive, so it's like one of those, who gonna hit who first type thing. Who gonna go?
Oh, yeah.
So, like I said,
100%.
it's like
Getting hyped
at the
thinking
weight
about it.
class, there's a lot of excitement.
Man,
Like,
I honestly, I mean, with Sean O'Malley coming off that loss and you coming off this win, I honestly feel like that is the fight to make. And honestly, you versus Sean O'Malley is the fight to make. We got to start campaigning for this, because, man, you go in there and you dominate a guy like that. You put on a performance that you just put on in the last fight, and you do that again, man. People are going to be talking about your name like they already should be. And, you go in there and you beat a guy like Sean, a guy that a lot of people already know. Man, that leads to the Derek Lewis fight, the 100K, 200K, 300K, 60 G's, baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you're 100% right. So, I guess that's going to be something exciting.
Yeah.
And I, definitely can't end up waiting, because I already know it's going to end up getting presented. I feel like he ain't going to come back until like the end of the year type thing. Cause,
true.
But if he's definitely down to go down the, because like I said, I got basically 2 to 3 more fights this year. I'm trying to fight in the next month, less than a month, in Abu Dhabi, and I'm supposed to end up making a return back out here. So if it's September or no, what's next? September, October, and I'm able to return back in either November/December, that'd be cool. 'Cause I'm trying to be talked about as in, hey, a person that fought basically 4 times in 1 year, and that's with a 7-month layoff of surgery. Like, think about like how big that talk's gonna end up also being on top of that.
100%.
And then, like you said, me fighting O'Malley, that's going to be added on. Like, he ended up fighting in February. He had to take 7 months off, and then he came back in September. And then not only September, he fought in October, and followed up in November/December.
Yeah.
I'm the man.
Hey.
No doubt.
Well, we'll be watching, man. No doubt.
Definitely be watching. Man, thank you so much for your time, Andre. Do you have anything else to say, Bobby?
Just truly appreciate you taking the time, man. It means the world.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. Again, you already know, message. Also, you should have my number. If not, I'll send it to you. But yeah, anytime you guys want to get a hold of me, or down to end up doing it again, we'll set it up, make it happen.
For sure. We'll look forward to it again, my man. Thank you so much being our first guest on the Most Important Things podcast. We will for sure be in touch. And man, only big things on for the future, my man. And I'm so excited to be a witness to all of it, man.
Hey, appreciate it again. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
sir.
any music comes out, send it my way.
Oh, you already know, bro.
No
I appreciate
doubt.
it. Thank you.
No doubt, my man.
Wow. That was awesome. Big thank you to Andre for coming on the show. Our first guest couldn't have gone better, I don't think. I really appreciate you giving us your time and coming on the show and sharing your story. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Andre, Mr. Highlight Ewell. He's the highlight of all these episodes so far. I mean, he touched on a lot of things that we touch on, that we base our podcast off of, mental health, positivity, and the ups and downs and mental, the mental highs and lows that we deal with, and look at where he's at and the things that he's gone through to get to where he's at. I mean, he talked about a lot of personal stuff, and I truly appreciate it because I feel like it's going to resonate with a lot of people. It definitely resonated with me.
Yeah.
So,
well, with that being said, I just want to once again tell you how proud I am of you for taking those steps. I do think it's super important to seek help if you feel it's necessary. You want to touch on that anymore?
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the support. Support and love are two things that I can never get enough of in life, and two things that I want to be able to give to the world as much as I can. So for anybody out there watching and listening, if you can take anything out of the fact that I'm trying to make the right steps for my mental health, and I know I put out a lot of positive messages and Facebooks, but I'm also someone. The people that are close to me know that I go through a lot of highs and lows as well mentally. So anybody out there that goes through the same mental highs and lows, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or don't hesitate to reach out to a professional and tell them what's on your mind, and to really, if you got to get on medicine, or you got to just getting it out there, having someone to talk to and really express yourself, because one thing that holds us back in life sometimes is not being able to express exactly how we feel in life, and we always need to be able to express how we feel so we can get those expressions, off our chest and into the open, into the world, and really grow on that, and in the end, become a better person, because that is the most important thing.
Sure is, my friend. I had a blast with you today. Look forward to episode 5 next week.
Had a blast with you. Had a blast with Andre. And we got a little homework to do though for episode 5.
Yeah, I think so. We want to try our best to get another guest on. Going to spend the week trying to arrange that, and just coming up with more engaging content and stuff we can offer to you guys. So thank you very much to everybody who watched this episode. Thank you to everybody who continues to watch these episodes. We're learning and we're growing every day, and I'm excited to keep doing this. We're trying our best. We're trying. I'd love for you to close out the show. I feel like the people haven't gotten that Kevin Barber's energy that I think we all actually signed up for. We haven't seen in a couple weeks. So please close out the show as best as you can.
All right, I'm going to try my best. Like I said,
use that fucking clapperboard too.
I like to try to be as authentic as I can be. And like I said, man, when I come here, there's something about the energy, there's something about the vibe that you guys bring out the best in me. And that being said, what is up, everybody? I hope everyone is having a great day. I hope you enjoyed episode 4 of the Most Important Things podcast with me, Kevin Barbers,
Bobby AGT,
and our guest, Andre, Mr. Highlight Ewell. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. And we will for sure talk to you soon.
Jump in, the water's fine, it's a celebration. No, we ain't stressing cause we on vacation. Not a care in the world today, baby.